Hey everybody, it's DJ, and today I just saw Rogue One. And by today, I mean literally like an hour ago. I literally just got back about half an hour ago. Um, so I saw Rogue One, and I've been super hyped for this movie. I even dressed up as Kylo Ren for the show. Well, mostly. I mean, I wore the robe and stuff like that. The theater I go to in Lexington, it's not allowed. We're not allowed to have like masks or lightsabers and stuff like that. You can't wear makeup either. It's kind of sucks. I know there's a good theater in Simpsonville that just says fuck all that shit. You can do whatever you want. Um, but yeah, I figured I'd just go ahead and make a quick video to kind of tell you guys what I thought of the movie because as a lot of you can guess, I am a really big Star Wars fan. I really do love Star Wars. I've loved Star Wars ever since I was a little kid. And for Rogue One, I should just come right out with it and say what I thought. When I saw the trailers for the movie, it looked like it was going to be really epic. It's like the first, okay, well, not the first. It's technically the second, if you count Star Wars The Clone Wars, the animated one that came out back in 2008. If you count that, Rogue One is the second spin-off story that we see of Star Wars. It takes place after Revenge of the Sith, but right before A New Hope. And I mean like right before A New Hope. And don't worry, I'm not spoiling the movie at all for you guys. If I kind of do, I'll edit it out so you won't ever even see it. But yeah, so this movie takes place right at before A New Hope, where it follows the story of a rebel named Jen, who is trying to get the Death Star plans because her father built the Death Star, help plan it, help build it. Pretty much, he's like the master creator of the entire thing, which kind of helps tie together like how the Death Star had that weakness at in the first place. You know, the thermal exhaust port that if shot a missile into, it could destroy the entire thing. It kind of explains really well, honestly, how the Death Star, how so many people were able to miss that one big weakness that's honestly not that big to catch on, but at the same time, it's like, how did anyone miss that big fatal flaw? They actually surprisingly, it's actually really cleverly explained how that was missed. So yeah, and given the fact that this literally starts off right before A New Hope, it doesn't really give the Empire enough time to kind of catch on eventually, all that kind of good stuff. So, Rogue One. To be perfectly honest, it is in fact a really, really okay movie. It's okay. It's made well. It's acted well. The visuals are outstanding. It's got some damn impressive action scenes. Like, okay, if you're looking for a Star Wars movie that has the big grand battles, like in fact, I'm not talking about I'm talking about Return of the Jedi epic. Like, you got this giant battle going on in space and this giant battle going on land. You'll get it here. This is an incredible battle sequence. Like the last battle sequence goes on for well over 30 minutes. Like, you have these giant fleets coming together, like Star Destroyers coming together, TIE Fighters, X-Wings, Y-Wings, all these big ships. The new U-Wing, I've heard. I think that's what's called the U-Wing, I think. It's pretty sick. It's kind of like a carrier gunship and stuff like that. It's pretty sick to see. It's awesome. We get to see them take down this giant shield generator and stuff. It's pretty sick, to be honest. It's really cool to fun. They're really fun fight scenes to watch. But if you're looking for a Star Wars movie with really good characters and kind of a really colorful tone and isn't so dry and for the most part humorless, then this is not your movie. I mean, I think that's the biggest problem with it. I think even judging from the trailers, you can kind of tell this isn't gonna be upbeat and bright and colorful, kind of like how the Force Awakens was. Like, Force Awakens was a very vibrantly colored film, and the characters, and you remember them, you figure out who they are kind of immediately in the film. Like Rey was so distinctive and memorable. Finn was so distinctive and memorable. Like, you can remember all these characters. Poe Dameron was so memorable. Like, all these characters, they have distinct personalities. You can catch on who they are, what they stand for, what they fight for, and all that kind of stuff in the first 5 minutes you see them. Those characters are established so quickly, and it's so well done. In this movie, I to be honest, I can't really remember any of these characters, really. I don't remember really any of them. Okay, well, I remember two characters, really. That's really about it. I remember the robot, K29... Oh, I can't remember his name. I really cannot remember his name for the life of me. That's kind of the problem with this movie. It's just... it just these characters are not that distinctive. Like they don't really have real personalities. Really, there's like I said, there's only two characters that really stand out to me. Here I'll look. Hang on. Okay, so the first one, the first character I remember is K2SO, who is the droid that you see in the movie. He is voiced by Alan Tudyk of all people, and in my opinion, he is probably the best character in this movie because he's the comic relief character. The biggest problem with Rogue One, in my opinion, is that it's really, I guess for the most part, kind of like dry in a sense. Like it's not like Batman versus Superman where it's just so it's so dead. Like there's no comedy whatsoever. But a lot of the comedy comes from him. Like this is where the majority of the comedy in this movie comes from, and yeah, this guy is fucking funny. He really is. Like, everything with this guy is funny. So, he's an Imperial droid who was reprogrammed to kind of serve the rebellion and stuff like that, to work with the, what's his name? Cassian, the main guy character. And, yeah, he has this tendency to just speak what's on his mind, as it's kind of like a side effect of the brainwash, of the mind wiping and stuff like that he went through. So, yeah, pretty much K2SO, he just kind of always blurts out what he's thinking, and it's oftentimes really funny. Like, the best scene, in my opinion, I'm not going to give it away. I don't want to spoil it. It's the best joke in the movie, probably, and it's really funny. It really was a really funny joke. But there was this really funny joke, I will say. Like a scene where she steals a blaster from the main character Jen. She steals a blaster from Cassian, and K2SO is like, how come she gets a blaster and I don't? And he's like, wait, what? They like, and she just kind of puts it away he's like, you're not supposed to have that. He's like, it's kind of funny. It really was funny to see that. Like I said, it's kind of one of the weaker jokes, but it was still kind of funny. Like I said, a lot of the jokes this guy has, he is hilarious. Like, he is a really funny character. And the other character I remember was, who was he? What's his name? Chirrut Imwe? Like I said, I don't know how to say it that well, but his name is Chirrut. He's like a blind warrior. He's like the guy in the trailer who fights with the sticks and stuff like that. He is badass. I love this. I love watching this guy. Like, he's supposed to be kind of like this religious guy and everything. He's just such a badass character. Like, he's like Toph from Avatar. Like, he doesn't need to see anything. He can just kind of take out an entire squadron of stormtroopers by himself if he wants to. It's pretty sick. And like I said, he is genuinely a very wise character. He kind of reminds me of Obi-Wan, like old Obi-Wan from A New Hope, where he's very wise, very mystical in a sense. You know, he's always closing his eyes, like, kind of like meditating, stuff like that. Or maybe more like Yoda. Like I would like to see these two characters, like Yoda and Chirrut, or how you say his name. Like, to see those two characters, like, come together, like, and just kind of hang out. Like, it'd be funny as hell to see. Someone make that happen. Somebody make that happen, please. But aside from that, the rest of these characters just, they kind of lack a personality, really. They don't really have anything that really makes them stand out, especially the main characters. Like Jyn Erso, again, I just feel like she's kind of dry. I mean, she's acted well, okay? Felicity Jones does a great job. She's a great actress. She gives a great performance. The actors are all really good. They all act so good. But it's just their characters. I don't really remember, any of these characters. I don't remember who they are, really. I don't remember why I should give a shit about them. Nothing. I don't feel a thing. I mean, they're fine. Like, I don't hate these characters. They're not awful characters or anything like that. They're not just so horribly bland or anything. Like, they have these moments. Like, they do have these moments that do make you want to think about them. Like, Jyn does have this history where, like, it's kind of a personal beef with her because her father's the one that built the Death Star. Cassian does have this kind of complexity where he does do bad things and for the sake of the better. Like, he does kill. Like, he does have a problem with killing for the Resistance, because you figure the Resistance is the good guys, but, like, I kind of feel like the movie's trying to explore the darker side of the Resistance, which, with the Rebellion, and I do give the movie credit for that, because that's kind of a really cool thing to see the darker half of the Rebellion, like, the side we don't see. Like, the Rebellion's supposed to be, like, this really bright, good guy that's always protecting the innocents, but in this movie they try to explore the darker side. Like the darker side, like we still gotta kill people, we still have to destroy homes and stuff like that to stop the empire. But it's all for the greater good and stuff. And he's kind of thinking like, this can't be for the greater good. It doesn't sound like it's really that good. Like, well, would you rather the empire just take over? It's gonna be worse with them. It's either we do something bad or they do something worse. You decide. And it's like, okay, I'll give the movie credit for that, for trying to explore that side of the rebellion. I really would like to see more of that. It was really something to see. There's also another character named Bodhi Rook. He was like an Imperial pilot who defected to the rebellion. And there's another scene where this other guy, what was his name? I forgot. Again, sorry, I just forgot. These characters are just not that good. Bazi, I think that's how you say his name. He has a bit of a beef with Imperials. Like, he tries to kill the pilot the second he sees him when they first meet. But after that, that's all we really see. We never really get to see that again. Like, they have one scene together where he's like, oh, I'll get... It's like they're trying to escape this prison and stuff like that. He's like, he's like, Bazi, get the pilot. He's like, oh, I'll get the pilot. He pulls a gun, cocks it, like you think, he's going to do something funny. But after that scene, that's really it. That's really about it. They don't have any more interaction for the rest of the movie, which brings me to another problem. The chemistry between these characters, it's not awful. Like, they don't try to force these characters together, try to force them to be friends. Like, they're not taking two toys and like, no, none of that. It's just, but they have no chemistry at all. Like, they barely talk to one another. As if it's not involving the mission, they barely talk to each other. Really, it's just kind of like there's not much chemistry to them. And I think that's just mainly because these characters are so bone dry. Like, again, there's no personality with any of these characters, really. With the exception of K2SO and what was his name? Chirrut, I think. Again, I have no idea how to say his name. It's spelled weird. I don't want to sound racist or nothing. I'm sorry. But aside from those two, these characters are so forgettable. Even the villain doesn't really stand out that much. His name is Orson Kenrick. He's the director of advanced weapons research. He's kind of the guy who was in charge of the Death Star and everything like that. And again, he just doesn't have much of a personality. He just doesn't really stand out that well. And he's supposed to be up there with Vader himself, who, of course, we see in the movie. That was kind of given away. And we also see Grand Admiral Tarkin. That was really cool to see, to be honest. We got to see Tarkin in this movie. And whoever they got to act this guy who did Tarkin was incredible casting. Like, he looks like Tarkin. He sounds like Tarkin. They use CGI. Like, it says right here, like, they actually had to use CGI on the, what's his name? The actor they got to play Tarkin. Hang on. His name is, Peter Cushing. Yeah. They actually use, they use a guy named Guy Henry. He's the actor. And they use CGI to digitally recreate the 1977 Peter Cushing animation. They actually use CGI to make him look like the original Grand Moff Tarkin. I kind of caught right away that it was CGI. Like, it was kind of obvious, but it's still fine. It's kind of like the Paul Walker CGI from the end of Fast and Furious 7, where he's like, yeah, you can kind of guess that's CGI because they definitely needed somebody else. I mean, like, it's cool that they use someone else. It's kind of neat to see them try to do that, to try and bring back the old face from the older movie and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think I would have preferred maybe if they found an actor who just kind of looked and sounded like him. I think I would have preferred that a little better. That's what they did with other actors in this movie that I won't give away too much. But again, like, the villain in this movie, he's supposed to be like I said, on par with like Vader and stuff like that, but I don't feel it at all. I think Vader is way more kick-ass of a villain. Tarkin's more kick-ass of a villain. This guy, he honestly seems like kind of a whiny worker, honestly, because he's in charge of the Death Star, and then Tarkin takes over, and he's like, but it's mine, I worked so hard on it. I'm like, well, yeah, maybe if you were more intimidating, more badass of a villain, I wouldn't take it from you. Like again, I felt like he's such kind of a whiny villain. He's more whiny than Kylo Ren. At least give Kylo Ren some credit. At least his issues were personal. He had family issues. Like this guy's he's just got a lousy boss. That's it really. He's more whiny than Kylo Ren ever was, in my opinion. Sorry, my screensaver turned on, and it's like, why is this guy so bad? And then comes the end, which I think was kind of stupid with this guy, like where the rebels are starting to steal the Death Star plans. I don't think I'm giving too much away when I say that, because that's kind of what the film is building up to. Where Orson tries to get his revenge and stuff on Jen because, like I said, Jen's father fucked over the Death Star. It was him who installed that flaw that destroyed the entire Death Star, and he himself is going into the base to try and get Jen. It's honestly stupid. Like, why? You're the director of advanced weaponry. You're practically an admiral yourself. You can get the entire force to go after this girl. You do not have to do this yourself. And he does it anyway because he's got something to prove, apparently. It's just like, what is he doing? Like, what are you doing, man? This is kind of stupid on your part. It's dumb. It was so dumb, in my opinion. It really was kind of a dumb decision. I mean, it's not even for the very end of the movie, so it's not like it's the end of the world or like it's something that just ruins the movie, but again, I feel like it was kind of stupid, in my opinion. But bitch and moan. What's the good stuff in this movie? Well, there's a lot of fan service in the movie. Now, I know some people like to bitch about fan service, saying, oh god, they just did this just to make fans happy. Well, sure, and personally, I don't really mind fan service too much, especially over something like Star Wars, because I know Star Wars is such a big, massive universe, full of characters, full of life. Ironically, in this movie, that feels kind of dry and honestly a little lifeless. But like I said, I think I really do enjoy the cameos in this movie. We see Darth Vader, we see Grand Admiral Tarkin, we see Bail Organa, we see Mon Mothma. We see some of the people from A New Hope, like some of the pilots from we see Red Squadron. That was kind of cool. We see Red Leader from Star Wars. That was kind of cool. Let's see. There's some other cameos I kind of don't want to spoil. We see C-3PO and R2-D2. That's a cameo I'll let you guys know, and that was a kind of a neat one. I'm not going to give away one of them. There's one near the end of the movie I'm not going to spoil. Some of you can probably guess who it is, but I'm not going to tell you who it is yet. You just got to go see it for yourself. And I know some of you are probably thinking, one thing I will give away, the Emperor is not in the movie. Some of you, I know there was a scene in the trailer that kind of hinted that maybe the Emperor himself was going to be in the movie, but he's not. We do not see Palpatine in the movie at all. And I'm not too bummed out about that. It's not a big deal. I mean, we got to see Vader. We got to see Vader himself do some cool stuff. That's fine. But yeah. Oh shit, what was that? Hang on, that bolt's so loose. But yeah, along with that, the action is phenomenal in this movie. Like I said, if you want to see just a big epic war movie, like this is the first Star Wars movie that genuinely felt kind of like a war movie, if you think about it. Like, this genuinely did feel like a war movie. It's kind of dark and gritty in a sense. Like Force Awakens and stuff like that, even when it's supposed to kind of look dark and colorless, it still has this brightness about it. Like, it still feels like it's colorful in a sense. Like in the end of Force Awakens, when they're going through Starkiller Base, it's still very bright, like with all the lights in the background and the colors and stuff like that. Like, it still feels like it's a very colorful environment. And when they're fighting in the in the snowy forest on Starkiller Base and stuff like that, even when it's at nighttime, even when it's just all white and gray, it still feels kind of colorful in a sense, Like, it still feels very bright. Rogue One is not that. It's definitely dark. It's definitely gritty and looking kind of like a war movie in a sense, or for lack of better terms, Batman versus Superman, where it's kind of dark and gritty. Not as bad as Batman versus Superman, and like I said, this isn't a bad movie as opposed to that one, which is shit. This film is still just, the action is still so much fun. This feels so much like a war movie. Because, you get to see all of these... You get to actually see, battle strategies. You don't just see rebels and empires going at each other. You actually see, the rebellions talking to each other, planning out these strategies and different ways to take out the enemy. Like, you see, like, a Y-Wing squadron attack a Star Destroyer, not as a bombing run, but as, like, using an ion weapon to disable it. Like, that's kind of, like, really cool to see. Like, they disabled a Star Destroyer. Like, they didn't just throw a bunch of bombs and they blow it up. No, they were using strategy to stop it. Like, that was kind of cool to see. Like, they were actually using strategy to stop it. And again, these other characters, they all have unique weapons. Like, Chewie has this bowcaster that's kind of cool to see. And he's blind, and he's still sniping bitches and stuff like that. There was even this real cool scene where he just kind of does this. Like, he looks away. Kind of like Hawkeye from the Avengers, where he just shoots a TIE fighter down. He doesn't even look at it. He doesn't even look in its direction. He just shoots it. And it crashes into this turret that's causing the pilots all trouble and stuff like that. And it was so badass just to see him shoot. I was like it was so fucking cool. Like, again, Chewie is next to K2SO. He is easily the best droid, and he's easily the best character in this damn movie, like, all the way. Like, just watching him kick ass is it's something kind of fun to watch. I also there's also another. I just remember there's another cameo I'll tell you guys about. It's the weirdest fucking cameo in the movie. Okay, you remember in A New Hope at Mos Eisley when Luke and Obi-Wan or Old Ben, they go into that bar, they sit by the counter and stuff like that, and Luke accidentally bumps in that one alien with the butt face, and the other pig face guy comes out and says, "He doesn't like you. I don't like you either. You better watch yourself. I got the death sentence on 12 systems. You'll be dead!" We see them in this movie. Like, the weirdest people to choose. Like, why did they get a cameo of all people? Like, it's so odd. Like, it's such an odd choice, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not upset. It's just, why them? Like, why them of all people? Like, why them of all the people? It doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, like I said, I'm not mad about it. It's just, like, okay, like, Jen bumps into them by accident. The guy says, "Hey, you better watch it." And the other alien's like, "Roar, roar, roar, roar," making this weird noise, and that's really about it. But it's such a weird choice. Like, why, of all the people, them of all the people? Like, it's weird. Like, it's weird. Like I said, it's just a cameo. I'm not spoiling anything. It's just, why them? Like, why them of all the things? It's such a weird choice to give a cameo to. It really was. It really was. But I guess what I'm trying to say is Rogue One is, like I said, it's okay. Like, it has some really good things in this movie. Like I said, the fighting in the scene, like the big epic battle in the end of the movie, trying to get the Death Star plan and stuff like that. All of that, I think, kind of makes it worth going to see this at least one time. Like, at least once. I'm not sure if I would see this more than once. Like, I don't see myself going to see Rogue One a second time, because it does also feel like kind of slow at times. Like, it definitely, like I said, because of how dry it is, the film definitely kind of goes a bit slow. Like, it just, it has this slow pace to it, especially in the first half, I think, definitely, the first half. And because these characters are so dry, I just kind of feel like I'm kind of bored, honestly. Like, I was really bored. I mean, like I said, it was worth the wait to see that ending, to see that big battle on Scarif, where they're all just going at it. Like, it's a big, epic fight, and I'm loving and watching the AT-ATs get shot down and blown up. That was awesome to see. It really was. I just wish I didn't have to sit through that first half of sitting through these boring characters and this boring dialogue and this slow pace. Because, like, the first half kind of sucks, to be honest. But the second half is really cool. That's where it picks up. The fighting begins and all that kind of stuff. It's really something to see. It really is awesome. It really was worth it, in my opinion. So I do recommend fans to go see it once. And I think if you're a Star Wars fan, you will enjoy Rogue One. Like I said, it's not prequels bad or anything like that. It's nowhere near the level of prequels where the prequels just had a horrible, really everything. Like, it was just so overabundance of CGI, horrible acting, and a lot of politics that didn't make any sense. This film's biggest issue is just that it's kind of dry and slow. That's the issue with it. Like, it's kind of building up to this big epic thing, which, to be fair, it's kind of worth the wait. I kind of recommend, like, after that, you buy it on DVD and you kind of just skip ahead to the fight. That's kind of what I recommend seeing. That's kind of what I recommend. Um, so yeah. But I will give this movie one other thing before I wrap the video up. This film, like, this film has got some balls. I will give this movie that it's got some balls to end the way it did. Not giving too much away. Like, I mean, okay, I know Force Awakens had some balls, like killing off Han Solo. That movie's been out for a year now, so I don't think I'm really giving too much away when I say that. Like I said, it had some balls doing that. I know even Harrison Ford himself said, like, someone kill off Han Solo, please. Like, it would make the story so much better. And to be fair, it did work very well. But this movie, oh wow, like it feels pretty realistic given the scenario and the setting and the plots. Like it feels very realistic. I'm like, yeah, that's honestly what would happen. And I mean, I genuinely did feel kind of upset when the ending did come. Again, not giving too much away. Because it's not these characters I care about, but it's the rebellion I care about. Because the rebellion I do care about. I do know who the rebellion is. I do know what they're fighting for, and like it's just like to see what happens in the end of this movie, like it does kind of tear your heart out, and it is kind of a sad ending. I will give the movie that it does have the balls to not end happy, because you do kind of realize that like I said, this does lead into A New Hope. Like, this movie does lead into A New Hope, like, immediately into A New Hope. Like, you see Vader chasing after the Tobin 4 and all that stuff like that. Like, you do see that part. Like, that's where the movie kind of just ends. So, with this movie, you can kind of immediately, like, you can just, like, as soon as this movie ends, you can go put A New Hope in and immediately pick up right where it left off. And that's really about it. So, yeah, the bottom line, Rogue One was alright. I am glad I did see it. Like I said, I'm glad I saw those parts that were really awesome. I'm glad I got to see K2SO. I'm glad I got to meet Chitauri, but the rest of the characters were so forgettable and bland, and this film just feels kind of dry and kind of slow. Not heartless or soulless or anything like that. Like, it's nothing like that. It's just, like I said, it just felt kind of slow and sluggish at times. But the payoff for it, in my opinion, was worth it. You do get to see some amazing Star Wars battles. You get to see these, you do get to see this epic battle showdown between the rebellion, stuff like that. Watch Star Destroyers crash and burn. It's pretty awesome, to say the least. So, like I said, I do recommend seeing it once. And by the end of it, I do think Rogue One is kind of okay. It's pretty alright for a Star Wars movie. Not bad, but not that good either. Just kind of an alright territory. Like, I recommend watching it once, and that's really about it. I guess that's all I really have to say about Rogue One. Like I said, I'm happy I saw it, but I don't think I'd go see it again. Which is kind of upsetting, because I know Star Wars is kind of picking itself back up after the sins of the past. But like I said, this is nowhere near prequels level bad or anything like that. It's just kind of slow. That's all it really needs. It just needs to be it just needs to kind of pick itself up a bit, like speed itself up a little more with the pacing and give these characters some personality. Like, don't just be this dark, gritty film all the way through, because to tell the truth, Star Wars has never really been that. Despite, ironically enough, I know the movie is called Star Wars, but it's always been felt more of like a sci-fi adventure movie than really ever a war movie. And like I said, I'm glad I saw a Star Wars movie that was a legitimate war movie. I just wish it had a bit more color and a bit more life to it. That's all I'm saying. Not lifeless, but kind of dull, to say the least. Like I said, that's all I really have to say about this. It's alright. It's a passable film. I think fans will enjoy it. Maybe some moviegoers will enjoy it too. Not bad, not good, just kind of alright. That's Rogue One, guys. So, what did you guys think about Rogue One? Have you guys seen it yet? What did you guys think? Did you really enjoy it? Did you absolutely hate it like some people might? Let me know what you guys think. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Stay awesome, guys. Rock on.